On this episode, we're going to talk about should you put agency pricing on your website. Now, if you're new to the show is all about giving you the latest strategies to grow your agency much faster. If you're not yet subscribed, hit that little bell button so you never miss out on a new episode. What's up everybody, Jason Swenk here, and I want to go through what I used to believe about putting agency pricing on your website. Now, I still believe it, but there are scenarios where it's a little bit different. And as we grow over time, we're going to change our opinions because we see things working. And I'm always looking at, I work with, hundreds of agency owners every year, and I see what they're doing from all over the world. And so I'm always kind of constantly learning as I'm doing that as well, because I have a better pulse now because I see all these different things outside of what I used to do in my own little bubble. And so it's really kind of cool. So I've kind of changed my opinion a little bit, or in a certain instance. So let me go over what I used to believe, where I was very adamant to not put agency pricing on your website. The biggest thing that I've seen in the past, and this is what we did in the very beginning, is we wanted to scare away the people that couldn't afford us. And we wanted to save time in chatting with them because we didn't have a good qualification process for eliminating the bad prospects, or not the bad prospects, the prospects that weren't right for us. And we didn't have a good process. And when I started learning this, I was like, okay, well, I can take away that pricing. But you're probably wondering, like, well, what are the questions? Well, if you go to jasonswenk.com/nbat, it's free. You don't have to give me your email or anything. It will walk you through the first 4 questions in order to really kind of qualify that prospect within the first 10 minutes to make sure you're chatting with the right prospect. In this scenario, you put pricing on your website, it scares away the lower end prospects, and you're like, cool, great. But what you're also doing is you're scaring away the bigger prospects, like the big companies that you're going after. If you're going after the big companies, you're going to scare them away because they're going to say, oh, you put $1,000 a month? Like, that's like buying a Ferrari for $1,000. Like, is it stolen? What am I missing? You must not understand this. Like, does it have an engine? And you don't want them to think about, the price and to lower the level of knowledge that you actually have, especially if you're going after that level. So when you put pricing on your website, it's going to scare away the lower prospects, but it's also going to scare away the bigger prospects. Now, let me walk you through the scenario that I've come to kind of adapt a little bit based on certain scenarios. So I had a client that did reputation management, social media, and charged like their top pricing was like $500 a month. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you must not know what you're doing. And a lot of times when they come to our masterminds or events, I would make them stand up and be like, tell everybody what you do, and then have everybody go around the room and kind of guess your pricing. And everybody would guess like $5,000, $2,000, really high. And then they would say $500. And everybody would be like, well, what are we missing? And his deal was he wanted volume. And he also didn't want to move up to the highest client. He wanted to stay right around. Like, he knew his client, he knew what they could afford, he knew the value he was delivering, and he had a good system. And so he just wanted to turn and burn, right? Like, get them in, help them, boom, right? And just put thousands and thousands of people. And it obviously worked because he sold his agency for $gazillion, and now he doesn't have to worry anymore. And so, he knew his audience. Now let's look at me for an example, right? I'm putting pricing on my website because I know my audience, and I'm not going after the mega agencies like the J. Walter Thompsons or the Grays of the world. I'm going after a certain level, and I know the value I provide, and I know the pricing that will work for the serious people. So I'll put pricing on my website. I'm not trying to raise up where those J. Walter Thompsons will look at me at the pricing and then they'll second guess me because of the pricing, because those guys are going to like the PWCs of the world for consulting and that kind of stuff, right? And they're charging millions of dollars versus, my fee that I actually charge. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is if you know your market really well and you're not trying to go up another level, you can put your pricing in there, and that will help you eliminate a lot of people and also let people know that, hey, this is the price. You know, if this works for you and you see the value, come to me. But if you're trying to go up a level, you always want to have your pricing on an adjustable swing based on their expectations, because you know, you don't want to have that Berkshire Hathaway come to you and you say $10,000 website, which this has happened to me, and then they laugh because they were expecting $200,000, even though I could have done a $200,000 website. So I'll let you decide if you should put agency pricing on your website. Just know when you put the pricing, it's going to put a ceiling on what you're charging, as well as, you know, a floor. But I've always kind of been very adamant about not putting agency pricing on the website, but I've kind of changed depending on different scenarios. So if you fall in one of those scenarios, you know, try it out, experiment. And everything is an experiment. Everything changes over time. So you got to constantly be innovating and adapting, you know, kind of like what we're always doing. So love to hear your comments. Do you have agency pricing on your website? Are you adamant against it? What have you seen working? Comment below. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. Love to hear them. And until next time, have a swank day.